Did Bloober Team change the ending of one of gaming's most perfect psychological horror stories? Did they censor Maria? And why did they move one of gaming's most iconic encounters to a completely different location? If you've been wondering whether the Silent Hill 2 remake respects the original or ruins it, you're about to find out. Because today, we're breaking down every single story difference between the 2001 masterpiece and its 2024 remake, and some of these changes might surprise you. Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. Today we're diving deep into Silent Hill 2, specifically looking at the story differences between the 2001 original and the 2024 remake by Bloober Team. Now, Silent Hill 2 is widely considered one of the greatest horror games ever made, and when Bloober Team announced they were remaking it, fans had mixed feelings. The big question was, would they respect the source material or would they change things that didn't need changing? Here's the important thing to understand right off the bat. The core narrative remains unchanged. James Sunderland's haunting journey to Silent Hill, his search for Mary, and the psychological horror that unfolds. All of that stays faithful to the source material. James still receives that mysterious letter, he still walks through the fog-shrouded town, and he still faces the horrifying truth about what really happened to his wife. But there are some notable tweaks, additions, and relocations that made the remake feel fresh while honoring the original. Some of these changes are subtle, others are more significant, and a few have sparked interesting discussions in the wider community. Let's break this down into three main categories: characters, places, and events. Before we continue, I need to give you a heads up. While I'll try to keep things relatively spoiler-light, we will be discussing specific story elements, character arcs, and yes, even touching on the endings. So if you haven't played either version yet and want to go in completely blind, now's your chance to pause, go play the game, and come back. Trust me, Silent Hill 2 is best experienced without knowing too much. For everyone still here, let's dive in. Let's start with James himself. On the surface, James remains the same troubled protagonist we knew from 2001. He's still that grief-stricken, emotionally numb man searching for answers in a town that seems designed to torture him. His motivations, his backstory, his psychological journey, all of that remains the same. However, the remake benefits from over 20 years of technology improvements. The original James was expressive for his time, but the remake uses modern motion capture to deliver very detailed facial expressions and body language. You can see the small expressions of guilt, confusion, and denial on his face, and when he lies to other characters or to himself, his body language tells a different story. This doesn't change the narrative, but it adds layers of meaning that makes the horror even stronger. The voice acting has also been completely redone. While some fans love the original performance, the new take on James brings a different energy, perhaps more natural and less stiff than the 2001 version. Though whether that's better depends on your preference.
Hey, it was you, wasn't it? You're the one who stepped on my hand.
Maybe I did.
Maria sees some of the biggest changes in the remake, and this is where things get really interesting. In the original, Maria was already a complex character. She was a version of James's desires, regrets, and the ideal Mary he wished he had. She was designed to be attractive, confusing, and ultimately tragic. The remake gives Maria a much bigger role. She gets more dialogue scenes throughout the game, giving players more chances to explore her relationship with James. These conversations don't go against the original story, but they do add more texture and depth. You get more chances to see how she plays with James's mind, how she shifts between caring and being cruel, and how she represents his guilt made real. There's also more content about Maria's own confused existence. In the original, she was somewhat aware that something was wrong with her reality, but the remake gives her more moments where she questions her own memories and purpose. This makes her fate even sadder because you spend more time with her before those devastating moments later in the game.
Yeah, it's just... This place just gives me the creeps. I'm not sure why.
You ever been inside?
I'm not sure. It does feel familiar somehow.
Now, we have to address the elephant in the room, Maria's visual redesign. In the original, Maria wore a fairly provocative outfit, a leopard print top, a short skirt, and an overall appearance designed to contrast with Mary's more conservative look. The remake tones this down somewhat, giving her a more modest but still distinctive appearance.
Hey, you think I'd look good in this one?
Sure.
Not quite the ringing endorsement, but hey, I'll take it.
This change sparked discussion in the community. Some argued it was unnecessary censorship, others felt it was a reasonable update that didn't change her character's purpose. Personally, what matters most is that Maria still serves the same story role. She's still the temptation, the punishment, and the reflection of James's broken mind. The visual changes don't really alter that, though I understand why some fans prefer the original design. Eddie maintains his same tragic story in the remake. He's still the troubled young man dealing with his own demons, his own history of abuse, and his fall into violence. His conversations with James still reveal similarities between their journeys. Both men running from something, both men changed by Silent Hill.
I didn't know what to do, so I ran. I came here. Figured it might be safe, but then I found the guy in the fridge.
Easy, deep breaths. Look, this place, it's not safe.
The key difference is in how these interactions play out in terms of location, which we'll cover more later in the video. But as a character, Eddie's mental breakdown follows the same path. His paranoia, his reasons for violence, and his final fight with James all remain faithful to the source material. Laura is perhaps the least changed character in the remake. She's still the young girl who knew Mary, still doesn't see the monsters that James sees, and still serves as a reminder of innocence in a town drowning in guilt and punishment. Her interactions with James still reveal crucial information about Mary's true nature and James's relationship with her. The remake does give Laura slightly more screen time in certain sections, but her core function in the narrative remains unchanged.
Get out of here, you brat!
In your dreams, fart face.
Please open the door. There's something in here.
Sure there is. A big lying fart face. See a fart face!
Laura!
She's still the one character who isn't being punished by Silent Hill because she carries no guilt. Angela's story remains one of the most heartbreaking parts of Silent Hill 2, and the remake treats her story with the same care and horror as the original. Her meeting with James still reveals her history of abuse, her search for her mother, and her own personal hell within Silent Hill. The remake's improved graphics and animation actually make Angela's scenes hit even harder. Her empty stare, her defeated body language, and the fire-filled world she lives in come through with devastating clarity. The abstract daddy fight and the staircase scene remain as emotionally powerful as ever.
Mama! What's wrong? Wait. You're not my mama.
Silent Hill itself kept the same dark atmosphere we remember. The fog-covered streets, the rundown buildings, the shift to the other world, all of these elements return. However, this is where the remake makes some of its most interesting choices by moving certain key encounters to different places. One of the biggest location changes involves Eddie and Laura. In the original Silent Hill 2, you meet these characters at the bowling alley, a location that became iconic partly because of how strange it was to find a bowling alley in this nightmare town. The remake moves this meeting to the movie theater instead. Now, this might seem like a small change, but it actually affects how the story is told through the environment. The movie theater creates a different feeling. There's something uniquely creepy about empty theaters, the rows of seats facing blank screens.
No, God! No, God, please, no!
This change means the bowling alley, while still in the game, is no longer part of the main story path. For veteran players, moving this scene creates a fresh experience. You're going through familiar locations but seeing different story elements in them. The Woodside and Blue Creek apartments still play major roles in the story, but some item locations and minor event triggers have been changed. The overall path through these locations stays similar. You're still searching for clues about Mary, still meeting disturbing things, still feeling the trapped, claustrophobic environment in Silent Hill.
Hey! Wait!
However, the remake sometimes extends certain sections or adds small story details through the environment that weren't in the original. These additions give context without changing the core story. Brookhaven Hospital remains one of the scariest sections of the game, and the remake keeps this while adding some modern horror touches. The layout is mostly the same, the key story moments with Laura happen in similar locations, but the environmental detail and atmosphere have been greatly improved. The hanging bodies, the bloody wheelchairs, the medical tools scattered everywhere, all of this hits differently with modern graphics.
Having trouble there?
Yeah. You think you could give me a hand?
Me? You're supposed to be the big man around here. How's a little girl like me supposed to help?
The hospital still represents James's guilt about Mary's illness and his time visiting her, but the remake makes the place even more crushing. The later sections of the game show some of the remake's boldest changes. Toluca Prison has been massively expanded and redesigned to become one of the most intense sections of the entire game. In the original, the prison was fairly straightforward and relatively brief. The remake transforms it into a huge multi-section complex that's much larger, much darker, and far more maze-like than before. The map has been expanded significantly with multiple connected areas that you'll need to navigate. The remake adds new combat encounters that turn the prison into an action-heavy challenge. New enemy types attack from unexpected angles, some crawl on ceilings, others emerge from walls. You'll face group of enemies in ways the original never attempted, creating intense survival-focused combat that tests your resource management. The atmosphere is cranked up to 11. The lighting is much darker, limiting your vision. You'll hear disturbing sounds throughout your stay there, whispers, unexplained noises, and audio cues that make the prison feel genuinely haunted. The remake leans heavily into making this section feel oppressive and overwhelming. The labyrinth section after the prison has also been expanded significantly. In the original, it was fairly compact. The remake introduces a new rotating cube mechanic that opens up 3 separate mini labyrinth areas, each with its own environmental theme and puzzle challenges. The developers definitely researched fan theories about the labyrinth's meaning and tried to include multiple interpretations into the remake's design. The structure is more complex, with secret areas you can discover and more intricate pathways before you reach the final confrontation with Eddie. The Lakeview Hotel takes a different approach to changes. While the structure and story beats stay very similar to maintain emotional impact, the remake significantly expands the puzzle complexity. The main music box puzzles remain conceptually the same. You're collecting specific items to unlock progress, however, the remake transforms what were simple fetch quests in the original into elaborate puzzle chains. Each item now requires solving multiple connected puzzles across different areas of the hotel. Some players appreciate these expanded challenges as they add more gameplay substance to the hotel exploration. Others feel it disrupts the pacing of what should be the game's emotional climax, turning a story-focused finale into a puzzle marathon. Crucially though, the emotional core remains untouched. The most important story moments, the videotape, Room 312, James's confession, all play out with the same script and sequence. The remake understands these scenes were already perfect and needed only modern presentation. The game still opens with James reading Mary's letter at the lookout point over Silent Hill. This important opening remains unchanged because it's perfect as is. It sets up the mystery, shows James's emotional state, and starts the entire journey to Silent Hill. However, the first monster encounter has been changed between versions. In the original, James encounters his first lying figure in a tunnel where it's feeding on a corpse and he defeats it with a wooden plank. In the remake, this encounter has been relocated to an abandoned home instead. The initial exploration of the town follows a similar path, though the remake does add some more environmental details and mood-setting touches while adjusting where certain encounters happen.
James!
The major Pyramid Head scenes remain in the same spots in the story. The apartment closet scene, the trapped encounter where you must survive until the siren, and the final fight, these all happen at the same story moments. The remake does improve these scenes with better animation and more active camera work, but the story beats remains the same.
I know what you are. I know why I needed you. But it's all over now. I don't need you anymore.
Angela's key scenes, finding her with the knife, the abstract daddy boss fight, and the devastating staircase conversation all remain in their original spots. The remake treats these moments with care, understanding that they're some of the most emotionally powerful scenes in the entire game.
Look, I'm not sure what you're planning, but there's always another way.
Really? What's the point? It's easier just to run. Maybe it's all we deserve.
We?
Me. You. We're all the same.
I'm not like you.
Are you afraid? Sorry.
The dialogue in these scenes were mostly unchanged because it was already perfectly written. For me, "It's always like this" remains one of the most haunting lines in gaming history, and the remake keeps it exactly as it was.
It's hot as hell in here.
You see it too? For me, it's always like this.
Eddie's change from a seemingly harmless bullied young man into someone who's crossed a terrible line plays out on the same timeline. His scenes are still spaced out to show his slow breakdown building up to the meat locker fight. The remake keeps the unclear morality whether Eddie is justified in his actions or has become something even worse than the monsters that lurks around Silent Hill.
You fat, disgusting piece of shit, you make me sick. You gonna cry, fat ass? You gonna run to your mama?
Perhaps the biggest addition to the events of the game, the remake includes new endings beyond what the original offered. The original had different endings depending on which version you played. The base game had In Water, Leave, Maria, and Rebirth endings, while the greatest hits and director's cut versions added the dog and UFO joke endings for a total of 6 endings. The remake adds 2 completely new endings called Bliss and Stillness for a total of 8 endings. Without spoiling what these new endings show, they give fresh views on James's story and give veteran players something new to discover. These new endings are carefully made to feel consistent with the game's themes rather than feeling added on. So there you have it, a deep dive into the story differences between Silent Hill 2's original and remake. The main takeaway is this: Bloober Team treated the source material with respect. They understood that Silent Hill 2's story was already a masterpiece of psychological horror, and their approach was to keep that core while making targeted updates. What do you think about these changes? Did the remake handle the story well, or do you prefer the original's approach? Let me know your thoughts in the comments below, and if you found this deep dive helpful, don't forget to like and subscribe for more gaming content and analysis. Thanks for watching, keep gaming, and stay awesome.